Tell him to go back to his office. He's not gonna mind. He's not gonna mind.
Are you okay there, Mark?
This is actually good.
Ed, are you speaking with Suzanne or separate?
After.
Call the meeting to order. I would acknowledge that the Smokemean Valley, in which we learn, work, and organize as the ancestral, traditional, and unceded territories, Smokemean people, and home of the Upper Smokemean Indian Band. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Thank you. Moved by Councillor.
Could you speak louder, please?
Where's the
that's
remote?
probably affecting it. I think it's there.
Can you turn that off so I can? Moved by Councillor McLean, seconded by Councillor Willis. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of the minutes from June 17th.
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Gould, second.
Seconded, Mr. Mayor.
Elliott, errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. Adoption of the June 15th special meeting of council minutes.
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Willis, McLean, errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. And the June 30th special meeting of council minutes.
So
So
moved.
moved, Mr. Mayor.
So second.
Okay, Elliott, Gould, errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. Delegations. So we do have a delegation that is already on the agenda. So Suzanne, cover on that.
Thank you. I don't know if this is on or needs to be on. So, Mayor Coyne and councillors, thank you for allowing us to present to you today. My name is Suzanne Hoffman, and I'm here representing the Board of Directors and staff for Princeton and Community Services, and also the probably present and future seniors who will need affordable housing in the future. I come before you today to request that Mayor and Council review and amend the town's current development cost charges bylaw, number 1015, approved in May 2022. As background, many of you know that PDCSS has been a registered non-for-profit society in Princeton for over 51 years. We have been instrumental in providing a variety of services to vulnerable individuals living in our community, including seniors and persons with disabilities. It's been our dream and goal for many years to develop affordable housing here in Princeton for this particular demographic. And as you know, we're proud to have started a 58-unit affordable housing building on Bridge Street, right next door to the post office, and the hole is being dug as we speak. So this brings us to our request of Mayor and Council. It was a shock for our society to find out that the town of Princeton building permit and DCC charges for the proposed building would be close to $700,000. In discussing these charges with town staff, it appears that no legal avenue exists to process a waiver or reduction in these fees unless a bylaw amendment is approved by yourselves, Mayor and Council. This was confirmed by Mayor Coyne also in his letter to Becky on June 11th, 2026. In researching the issue, we obtained information regarding the BC government's community charter, which clearly outlines and even encourages municipalities to consider providing waivers and or exemptions to a number of types of buildings and housing. And this includes non-profit rental housing. We also looked at what other municipalities have done and with respect to permit and DCC charges for nonprofit rental housing. In addition to Princeton, we obtained the DCC bylaws for 5 other smaller communities in the Similkameen and South Okanagan area. And I think in your package you have a chart where I just put those on a spreadsheet, outlining sort of where the DCC and charges are with those municipalities. The chart lists 6 municipalities, so 5 others in Princeton, and their current DCC charges for high-density residential housing. But of importance is the section below on the chart, which actually shows of those 6 municipalities, which ones have provided in their bylaws exemptions and/or the possibility of waivers for nonprofit rental housing. So you'll see that Karameas, Oliver, Ozoias, Peachland have all provided exemptions in their bylaws for this type of housing. Princeton, although it was signed off later than almost all of these municipalities, chose to not put in an exemption. Princeton specifically retained an exemption for churches and places of worship in its bylaw, which indicates that mayor and councillor were well aware that the section 226 of the community charter and section 563 of the Local Government Act allowed for exemptions. However, Princeton's bylaw, which also includes the definition of nonprofit rental housing, failed to actually provide an exemption for this type of housing. The removal of the exemption for nonprofit rental housing appears to have been deliberate, and this is very concerning to community services, considering that in 2022, the town of Princeton was aware that community services was actively working towards developing an affordable housing project. Because as in 2022, in November 2021, there was the flood, and then in May of 2022, 7 months later, when there was discussions happening between BC Housing, Community Services, and Mayor Coyne about rebuilding the affordable housing that was lost during the flood, this particular bylaw was signed off. So our first question to Mayor and Council is, why would our Mayor and Town Council not support nonprofit rental housing? It's outlined in Princeton's own official community plan that affordable housing for seniors is a priority. A few examples of statements made in the town of Princeton's own official community plan are, quote, an overall shortage of housing as well as rising housing costs were noted as major challenges Princeton will face over the next 20 years. This suggests a need to explore how housing policy can aid in housing affordability and availability in Princeton. Our second question to Mayor and Council is, why was a DCC bylaw signed off in May 2022 that specifically removed an exemption for nonprofit rental housing at the same time that the OCP was being drafted in 2022, supporting that housing policy should aid in housing affordability? The OCPP states, quote, fostering strong community partnerships. Council understands the importance of building a shared future through strong partnerships with First Nations and Métis peoples, other levels of government, service agencies, and others. Ongoing investment in youth, families, and seniors, and promoting opportunities to encourage meaningful and ongoing community involvement in decision-making will set the direction for our future. Our third question to Mayor and Council is, how does the town see itself partnering with service agencies like ours to invest in seniors in our community? The OCP states special needs and affordable housing policies, subsection C, work with federal and provincial agencies and private developers to support more affordable and special needs housing initiatives within a 10-minute walk of the town center. And this, in fact, is happening with our affordable housing project. Recognize the unique residential needs and preferences of Princeton seniors population by exploring opportunities for reasonably priced housing for residents transitioning into retirement. Directing public and private seniors housing into areas where they are easily accessible services and amenities and or on a transit route. Again, on Bridge Street, that's happening for us as well. Encouraging affordable and appropriate housing that provides an opportunity for residents to age in place close to friends and family, and to live as independently as possible in their own community. And finally, H, to encourage safe and well-maintained, affordable, and cost-effective rental housing. End of quote. So our last question to Mayor and Council is, what does the word support mean to Town Council in context of working with federal and provincial agencies and with local agencies to support more affordable and special needs housing in town? It was also said multiple times by Mayor Coyne that replacing the affordable housing units that were lost during the flood was a town priority. Promises were made by BC Housing to replace the lost stock of affordable units. There were to have been talks between the town and BC Housing to secure permanent replacement housing. However, in the end, it has been Community Services that has actually made this a reality with its 58-unit building. While we appreciate that Mayor Coyne has spoken about how supportive the town is of Community Services for building this affordable housing, we had hoped that the partnership with the town would have resulted in waivers, exemptions, and other tangible support provided by the town towards this project. So here we are being asked to pay close to $700,000 to the town in order to provide affordable housing when municipalities elsewhere are providing exemptions in DCC charges. Building the project on Bridge Street comes at a huge cost to Community Services. While a small portion of the project is provided as a forgivable loan by BC Housing, the majority of the funding is going to be provided to us as a fully payable 35-year mortgage. So any cost overruns will be added to this mortgage and will ultimately have to be borne by an increase in unit rents. In order to keep rents affordable, Community Services needs to do everything possible to keep construction costs down. The town's contribution towards DCC exemptions or waivers would have gone a long way toward this goal. Your commitment to supporting nonprofit rental housing does matter and should not just be empty words in an official community plan. We respectfully ask that Mayor and Council relook at this issue and make it right. We understand this will take time. Community Services hopes to bring other types of nonprofit rental housing to town in the future, and we hope that we can solve this now so that there is a collaborative and supportive relationship with the town in the future. What we ask is the following. 1, review and revise the DCC bylaw to include the exemption for nonprofit rental housing. 2, determine whether DCC charges could be refunded retroactively after a bylaw amendment is processed. And 3, in the meantime, consider providing DCC credits toward the loss of the 23 units that Silvercrest and Billeter housing units were lost in the flood. The Government of BC's DCC Best Practices Guide indicates that DCCs can be applied only to the net increase of units over the original number of units lost. This could be applied in this case to reduce the DCC charges on the current project from the 58 units minus the 23 we lost down to 35 units, which would be in and of itself a huge savings on those costs. In conclusion, Community Services has a long and positive history in Princeton. We have tried always to work collaboratively with our partners in town. We are not here to be difficult or negative. Rather, we're here to encourage Mayor and Council to look at our town with a social lens. Please ask yourselves, what type of town do we want in the future? Can we work with local nonprofits and businesses to support the work of helping our most vulnerable individuals? Our elderly residents, many of whom have lived their entire lives in Princeton, have had to move away because of the lack of suitable housing and supports for them. And Princeton and Community Services is working hard to try to address those gaps. So is this what we want for them? All we ask is that the town of Princeton becomes part of the solution, not part of the problem. I'd like to thank Mayor and Council for your time today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have for us. Thank you.
Your turn, Ed. Yep.
Hi, my name's Ed Staples, and I'd like to thank the mayor and council for this opportunity to show my support and the support of my wife, who's right over here. Ninka Claver is also here. We are here to show support for the initiatives of the Princeton and District Community Services Society. They have been bridging gaps in services in our community since 1974. In fact, bridging gaps in services is their mission statement. Their latest initiative, the Low Rental Housing Unit on the corner of Fenchurch and Bridge Street, may be one of their most important initiatives to date, addressing the needs of low-income individuals who are struggling to find affordable housing in our community. We believe that the residents of Princeton are fully behind this important addition to our community and ask that you support Community Services' request to review and amend the town's current development cost charges bylaw. Thank you.
Just so you know, it is on the books for next year to review. That's, yeah, it's a big process. Amanda, your turn.
Okay, thank you for letting me speak today. I'm not good at this whole thing, so just bear with me here. I want to begin by saying that I'm not opposing the water meters themselves, and I don't believe anyone here wants to make decisions without hearing from the people they affect. That is why I'm asking you all to pause. Over the last several months, residents, including myself, had devoted countless hours to understanding this program. We've attended the open house, reviewed reports, contracts, procurement records, attended meetings, submitted questions, submitted freedom of information requests, and participated in good faith because we believe public participation matters. When the agenda package was released just yesterday, including multiple attachments, I immediately started reading it. The more I read, the more concerned I become. This is not a minor amendment. It's a complete repeal and replacement of Section 6 of the Water Regulations bylaw. The proposed bylaw makes water meters mandatory for residential properties, establishes a compliance deadline, December 31st, 2026, creates enforcement provisions, authorizes access for meter-related purposes, and replaces the existing regulatory framework while simultaneously removing prior exemptions. Residents simply have not been afforded a meaningful opportunity to review these changes before council was asked to consider first, second, and third readings during a single meeting. I would like to ask council to reflect on why this amendment is before you today. According to the staff report, adoption of this bylaw will provide the authority necessary to complete the town's water meter installation program. I believe that raises a pretty important governance question. If this authority is necessary now, should that legal review have been completed before the program was approved and implemented? Due diligence is most effective before major decisions are made, not after. I believe there's another issue that deserves careful consideration. The proposed bylaw requires owners and occupants to provide the town or its agent access to private property to install, inspect, maintain, repair, replace, and read water meters. It also provides that the town water meter remains the property of the town. We have not been given clear answers about how these access provisions will be exercised, what notice will be provided, who is responsible for maintaining access, what happens if access is refused, and where the town's responsibilities end and the homeowner's responsibilities begin. These are not simply technical questions. They are questions about our property rights, ongoing access to private homes, and municipality-owned infrastructure located inside our private residences. These issues deserve meaningful public discussion before council grants these powers. The Phase 2 report confirms the town is now transitioning to a homeowner-led installation supported by town-supplied meters and an installation rebate, while further amendments to the utility billing bylaw and fees charges are still required before the future billing framework is complete. I am not asking council to abandon this program. I am simply asking council to slow the process down. provide adequate time beyond 24 hours for public review, consult the residents, answer all of the outstanding questions, explain the property rights implications, and complete the billing framework. Then bring the bylaw back for consideration. I believe transparency is not measured by when a document is published. It's measured by whether ordinary residents have been given a fair and genuine opportunity to understand what is being proposed. I would respectfully like to ask council to defer first, second. Oh, sorry, I have heart issues in my need to. I believe we deserve a meaningful opportunity to review the proposed changes, receive answers to the outstanding questions that remain, and provide informed public input before council makes the final decision. I would also like to ask that staff be directed to undertake meaningful public consultation and return the bylaw only after residents have had a fair opportunity to understand and comment on its legal, financial, and property right implications. Thank you.
Okay. Move on to the next one, which is staff report 6.1, a proposed second annual Wildlife Animation Festival.
There's a recommendation on the agenda, and I would actually like to ask that we defer this to a committee of the whole meeting so we can get some more information on this, because I have questions in regards to funding, contracts.
Okay. Yeah.
Pardon? Oh, sorry, I thought you said.
Yeah. So Councillor Gould has made a motion. Somebody want to second it? So we can just. Thank you. Councillor Willis is seconding it.
I'm sorry, but a lot of people are complaining that they can't hear anything that you guys are saying, so I don't know if there's something that can be done about that.
I can yell, that's all I can do, so. Sorry. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to defer to the committee of the whole meeting made by Councillor Gould, a seconder by Councillor Willis. Is there any questions on that? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? I'm voting in favor, so that's carried. Are you guys opposed?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Opposed is Councillor Elliott, second, and Councillor McLean, second. But it still carries. Okay, we'll move to second, 6.2, Aquatic Center Grant Application. CIO?
We're still working on the aquatic center here. Council's goal has always been to foster a healthy community. And with that in mind, just about at every strategic planning session we've had, the aquatic center question comes up, and it remains at a high priority item on the strategic priority list. Sorry. Just recently, the federal government has announced a new grant. It's called the Direct Delivery Stream of the Building Community Strong Fund. The program provides $6 billion over 10 years. This announcement for this year, the intake this year is for $1 billion for 2026. But the caveat is that the projects must be shovel-ready, Class C estimates must be in place, and that the projects must start in 2026. So we are not quite there, but they also have a provision that they would like to receive expressions of interest of any projects that are worthwhile that maybe not are like ours that don't quite meet the criteria. So I think it's very important that we get our foot in the door and we submit a expression of interest for an aquatic center to replace our aged pool. So the recommendation is that we proceed with an expression of interest.
Questions? Yep. Are you moving? Yep. Okay, moved by Councillor McLean, seconded Councillor Elliott. Any questions on that? Yep.
What happened to the modified plan that we had? Was that not shovel-ready?
Not shovel-ready because it was a Class D estimate. And so we're going to have to budget for it to put it into next year's budget to actually pay someone to give us a Class C. It's very, very detailed. They actually go through it line by line as if they built it.
Okay, but the project we did have could
Yes.
be used for
Yes.
the guideline?
Yes, exactly.
There's just not enough time to get it done by
Understood.
July 15th.
Understood. I just don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
No, that's the plan, but it's,
Yeah.
this just came out and then
Yeah,
the
the
deadline
deadline-
is like,
Yep,
you gotta be ready to go.
Yeah.
fair enough.
The
Okay,
projects
thank you.
this year, when will they give the answer for them?
That's a good
Federal
question,
government,
yeah.
it's the federal government, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe in 10 years. Yep, yep.
Does a Class C, estimate, does that kind of lock you in a little bit so it doesn't increase, like how? you know,
They usually, in a Class C estimate, they will usually incorporate like an inflationary component, but, you know, it is time sensitive in itself as well,
Okay.
so.
So it's not like that would last a year?
No,
Okay.
yeah, you won't want to be moving forward with the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. 6.3, water meter installation program phase 2. Jared.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This report is pretty much the same as the last council meeting. The recommendation is that council direct staff to develop and implement a homeowner-led Phase 2 water meter installation program, including the provision of town-supplied water meters and cellular wall units. And that council direct staff to develop and implement an installation assistance rebate program to support eligible property owners with installation costs in order to maximize eligible grant funding and complete the water meter installation program. Kind of how it would be laid out. This would be in conjunction with council's decision on the bylaw that will be presented. Let's see. So the town would provide 1 meter and 1 wall unit at no cost to the eligible property owners. The property owner would be responsible for arranging and installation by a qualified plumber or certified water meter installer. The meter may be installed indoors or, where appropriate, in an exterior pit meter. The installation cost would be the responsibility of the property owner. Upon completion of the installation, the property owners would submit proof of installation together with a copy of installation invoice to the municipality. Following verification, the municipality would record the installation, and from there, the eligible property owner could apply for the installation assistance rebate of up to $400 to help offset the installation costs. This $400 would be applied to both the indoor installation and the pit meter installation. Only costs directly related to the installation of the water meter and associated cellular wall unit would be considered eligible. Yeah, so that's the program, how it would be laid out.
Well, I'll make that motion. Mr. Mayor?
We have a motion made by Councillor Elliott. Is there a seconder to his motion? Councillor McLean is seconding it. Questions?
Did have questions?
Okay, Councillor Gould.
With this proposed program, would it be done as a policy that we adopt, or is it just a program that we can adopt based on this? Does it need to be a policy? Okay.
We would just make the appropriate, all the paperwork and record it accordingly.
Okay. And then, previously, the questions were, like, when Neptune was doing the installations and stuff, the questions were about warranty. Then Neptune did a 1-year warranty, and then after that, it would be, because it's a town-owned thing, it would be fall to us. If it needed a repair or replacement, we would continue to do that. Now, I imagine if with this proposed policy, or program, sorry, that any warranty work would need to be done by the plumber that they hire or installer that they, so separate from the town.
That's correct. The town would still remain responsible if the meter itself fails due to normal wear and tear.
Okay, but any installation,
Yeah,
it's all on that.
that's right.
Okay, and then, in here, it says, under this option, the implementation of phase 2 would be coordinated with council's consideration of the proposed amendments to section 6 of the bylaw. Yet, on page 55 of your report, the benefits of the proposed phase 2 program, it says it provides a fair and practical opportunity for the remaining property owners to participate before the proposed bylaw requirements take effect. So this, we can
Oh,
start, we can
my
do this
apologies
before the bylaw,
Well, that would be up to
so
council.
like if we adopt it today, it could start, like if we
Correct, yes.
made the motion today. It doesn't have to be in line with, pardon?
We won't be adopting the bylaw.
No, this program, rebate program. I wanna say policy, but rebate program. Okay. And then, do you have numbers on the final, how many did get installed?
Yeah, it's approximately be 915
Of 1,153?
of 1356.
Well, including commercial.
Yeah.
Okay, and then at last meeting, we made the motion to purchase, like, make a contract to purchase the remaining. Are the meters the same for inside installation as outside?
Yes,
It's the same meter,
the meter that we're purchasing is usable in a pit meter as well.
as well as commercial? So
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all the same.
So, because then if there is a few left over, because I saw in the next thing on the agenda was that, like, the town's forever responsible for replacing them if they need to be, like, if they're faulty or otherwise. So I
Correct.
just wanted to make sure that we have access to meters, more than just what our numbers are. And then, did all of the existing meters, like residential and commercial, that were already in place before this new program that we started after we received grant funding, did all of the existing ones get their meters replaced?
No,
So there's still some outstanding?
there's still
for
some
that?
outstanding, yes.
Okay. Do we have any idea on those numbers?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. And then do you have a number of how many we purchased? Or we need to?
No, I have not received the final numbers of what is left over yet. So I
Okay.
still need to receive that
There's-
from Neptune.
And the invoice and everything too?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay. I think those are my questions.
That's it?
Yeah.
Anyone else? Yep.
So walk me through phase two. I go to you and I say, I need a meter and the transmitting thing. I get it from the town?
That's correct.
Okay, and it costs me $0.
0.
I get it for free.
The meter and the wall unit for free, yes.
Okay. I contact my local plumber and I say, look, I've got this unit, can you install? And he comes in, he installs it, yeah, say it takes him hour and a half, it's gonna be probably $200. I get a piece of paper, and I submit the information to the town for
That's
that
correct.
installation. And the town reimburses me for that installation, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I get the meter, the wall unit for free, and essentially I get installation for free.
That's right. Up to
Okay.
$400.
Up to $400, yeah. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Do we have an idea on the pit meter, what the cost is?
It's on a case by case.
It's case by case. Through the Neptune program, their price was the $12,000 mark. That's for the pit meter installation, excavation, any asphalt, concrete that needs to be replaced, that kind of thing. A local contractor could be cheaper.
But then they'd still only get up to $400.
That's correct.
That's the maximum that we can give under the program. And that's been confirmed with the funders, that we can do that.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Anything else? Yep.
Short of getting the mayor's input on this whole process being a mandate of the provincial government, I just wanted to say the amount of work that has gone into this on your behalf, you've done an excellent job as far as I'm concerned, and there's a lot of, as we have noticed, there's been a lot of attachments to go with this. And as far as I'm concerned, this final one, if people can't be satisfied with that, I'm not sure what else we can do.
Any other comments? Call the question, all in favor? That is carried. 6.4, existing water meter compensation. Who's speaking? Here.
Thank you. This is just in response to, I guess Mayor and Council had asked me to put something together for this because there was concern from the public. And this report is strictly my recommendation as of the program itself. So my recommendation would be that council direct staff not to provide compensation or reimbursement to property owners for previously purchased or installed residential water meters, as the provincial grant funding does not recognize such costs as eligible expense under the establishment of the municipal reimbursement program. Whoops, sorry. And the establishment of the municipal program would result in an additional unbudgeted expenditure and equity concerns among property owners. So this program was just directed on trying to replace any meter that was already in place for free and install anyone who hasn't had one had one installed previously. So yeah, under this current program, there is no funding for it. So if council were to decide to do so, we would have to look at different funding options, and then also it's kind of a bit of work to get all the information, as it's like a lot of it is paper copies, so you have to go through the old files to get the exact numbers and stuff like that.
Okay, questions?
I know you Thomases are a soft-spoken bunch, but I can barely hear what you're saying out here, so I'm pretty sure that people pointed the other way.
We can't hear a thing. Can't hear a thing.
Nothing.
My apologies.
This entire meeting.
So I'm this business of people that already had it put in, those are, do you know the numbers about what we're dealing with?
Not, like I said, there's a lot of paper copies and stuff that I need to go through, but.
Jared, can you try to yell?
I can probably help with that. Just knowing from when we did the commercial side, it's about 150 numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's significant more than that. In 2010, when we did the boundary extension and did the water project, we brought in East Princeton, Jacobson Road, and Airport Road, and those properties at that time were required to get water meters. And then after that, we put a bylaw in place that any new residence developments had to, or commercial new, had to put meters in. So I believe it to be more than that, in my opinion, but
That's
I
how
could
many.
be wrong.
That's how many that were in battle
For commercial?
for everybody.
Oh, okay.
So, and there's no way we can squeeze anything more out of the grant in terms of,
No, it's not structured to, it's just for the supply and proof of installation. It's not to recover any costs of any sort.
well, okay, do we have a ballpark on what it would cost for somebody to come in and change a meter? You would think it wouldn't be all that.
A new 3/4 inch meter is in the ballpark of $560.
But
The installation, it could take, for a simple installation, I would say an hour. Like if
Yeah,
it's just
because
cut
it's
and dry.
already in there. It's the old one,
Oh, for a
the wrong one was
replacement?
already in there. so
Yes,
it
half an
shouldn't
hour
take-
to an hour to replace it, really.
I would have hoped I could find a quicker plumber than that.
You're gonna get billed for an hour.
Okay,
Councillor Gould, do you have a question?
So this was actually brought to council by staff with the request that
No,
council considered
Councillor McLean brought it up first.
in the meeting, and then, before the meeting?
Yeah,
Because it was in the meeting that staff had asked us to consider what to do with.
yeah, because Councillor McLean brought it up at a meeting at some point, so staff was looking into it.
Okay.
That's why it came back.
And then, because like I have an understanding, I kind of trying to look at it from both ways, right? So previously installed meters were done because it was in the bylaw, that it was a requirement. And like you said, when other areas were brought within the town, were they all pit meters?
I don't believe so, and I also think it was mandatory from the province. It was part of the funding when we did the water expansion to the different areas, I believe.
So
I have not read the grant paperwork from back then, but I think that was part of what was required of us.
And part of it, the difficulty is some of that could have been covered by the grant itself as well, and so there's no way of really researching what people actually paid for their meter in order to even investigate a reimbursement, you know,
And
so.
to ensure it's fair, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, and that's where I'm kind of like, so I'm trying to look at it from that lens of, it's not part of the funding of this
No.
grant, so it's gonna have to come from town, which
Yeah.
comes from taxation.
Correct.
Which we would have to then do a whole amendment or anything like that. I'm just saying, if it's from that lens of who's gonna pay for it, but to make it fair, it's also, I need to understand how it came, how the question came, like, how was it presented on what the opinion of fair was? Cause I don't know, was it in
Yeah, I
letters,
think-
was it?
Well, I think people just, you know, if you had one, I think people were just starting asking the question, what do I do with this one now, you know, and can I get my money back or whatever, you know, so I think it just came out from the general public as a question, and so we just wanted to research it, and we've come to the conclusion that it's probably not feasible to do it, like there's no way of really being accurate with our numbers, and this grant or this program does not fund that, so council would have to decide to take it out of their own account.
So was the request then for funding for the cost of installation, or compensating for the cost of installation, or the fact that their meters were never used?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't get the question directly, but, yeah.
I think it's just the cost to replace the meter that they have. From what
Well,
I,
is it not free? Was it not free?
yes, they get a free replacement to an
No, but the
upgraded
original
meter.
wasn't.
The original.
Oh.
No, right, no, the offer to replace the ones like up until June 30th, was it not?
Yeah.
Free, yes.
It was free
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, so they had, you know, some of them are like older now, maybe even reaching the end of their life. Everyone's getting a free meter and brought up to today's standards, so.
But this is what we talked about before, right? Like a lot of people bought these houses from,
Yeah.
people, you know, developers that built them. And
Yeah.
that so they didn't buy the meter themselves. right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah.
It's really hard to come up with a number then.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what I'm saying from the lens
Yeah.
of fairness, right? Because
Mhm.
it's also who paid for it or whatever, but, and if you've sold it a few times too, right?
And now they're getting a free meter.
Randy,
Just, yeah, because they,
did you have your hand up?
up until June 30th, the replacement and
Did you have your
the
hand up?
cost
Yeah.
of
No,
doing
sorry.
the meter, the transmitter
yeah,
was covered. And
Yeah.
now, phase 2, it's gonna be, you'll still get the meter, a transmitter, but only, they won't
Well,
get anything for existing.
well, no, they'll still get it installed up to, if there's
Up
an.
to 400?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right, and that should cover the cost of it, you know, like,
Okay.
I think it should cover.
So that's not just new meters, it's the existing
Mhm.
meters would still fall under phase 2?
Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry, I
that's
should have
correct.
asked that
Yeah.
earlier.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes, so there's still no out-of-pocket money,
okay,
right?
Right.
So.
okay, good, I understand. And I haven't heard anything different from them, so.
We have a report here. We have to deal with the report, so does council have a direction on the report?
There's some, there's some not nice things in here that we have to deal with in terms of these meters that were previously put in at our direction.
Like what things?
Well, I don't know how, you know, from a legal point of view, I don't know how we're not responsible in terms of if we ordered someone to put it in a new building, then you come along later and say, okay, if you're gonna get a meter now, it's free. Installation and cost of the meter is free. Well, you go back to the person that had to do it, had to pay for it. It's not a nice situation to be in. you don't see any responsibility?
What I'm saying is just to replace the meter. They had a meter now that were being replaced.
I don't know. If I put $300 into a meter because I was told to do it, and then all of a sudden a program comes by and is offering free meters, and my meter doesn't speak to the system that the new system is, and I'm out $300, I'm still going to be a little torqued.
Okay, so let's refocus here. We have a recommendation from the director who says that the grant program that we have right now cannot pay for what you guys are talking about. So if you want to do something else, you have to give direction to staff to figure out something else.
Then I move that council direct staff to develop a compensation program for property owners who previously purchased and installed residential water meters.
For this year or next year, because we have no budget for it, so
We gotta find the money somehow. We gotta be fair.
okay. We have a motion. Does somebody want to second that motion?
And what I would lean towards adding for next year's budget. We
Sure.
decide in November.
Fair enough, fair enough.
There was an alternative recommendation
I was gonna.
that Jared had. Do you want to speak on it?
It just speaks to simply what you guys are saying. The alternative recommendation could be that council directs staff to develop a compensation program for the property owners who previously purchased and installed the residential water meters, and report back with a detailed financial analysis and implementation plan, including estimated costs and such. So
Yep.
Same thing he said,
Exactly.
just in less words.
It'd be nice to know what exactly it costs, right? You know,
Okay,
what
so
kind
for sure.
we have a motion and a seconder to ask staff to come back with a plan. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay,
Nobody was opposed.
let's bring back a plan and see what happens. Okay, 6.5 is the Town of Princeton Water Meter Open House Summary, CAO.
Actually, Jared.
Jared's in
presented
there?
This is just pretty much for information only. If you've read the reports, it's just kind of some questions and everything that was asked and some of the responses that the town had to the questions.
Questions?
Thank you for the report.
Yes. Thank you for submitting it officially. I'll make a motion to receive.
Okay, moved by Councillor
Second that.
Willis. All in favor? Carried. Council reports. Start with Councillor Elliott.
Actually, pretty quiet on my docket. The only thing I can tell you about is I went to the Canada Day celebration. That was a lot of fun, good turnout. Got to cut cake and share cake with the mayor. Had just enough cake. I think we had 10 pieces left over. It was a beautiful day. Some really good conversation, some great music, some great live entertainment beyond music. It was a really good day. It made me proud to be a Canadian, and I was glad to be there. And that's all I've got to report.
Thank you. Councillor McLean.
I have been the last few days up at the Badlands basketball camp with 40-something children learning how to play basketball, and sponsored by Hudbay, by the mine and that sort of thing. So a lot of excitement and everything else. Just a nice addition to sports and stuff for the community.
Thank you. Councillor Willis.
I'm not report right now, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Gould.
Just attended the regular meetings that we had, the special meetings, and I do my annual caveat. It's fawning season, so I'm receiving reports of conflicts with dogs and wildlife, does especially, protective does. So just a reminder to the public to be safe when you're walking with your pets. And if there is a negative interaction, to contact the BC Conservation Office, the RAP line or whatever. Unfortunately, it falls under their jurisdiction. We've gone back and forth on this a few times. But conservation are the ones who can deal with it, with negative interactions for sure, but mainly keeping ourselves, our kids, and our pets safe. Sometimes we get caught in the crossfires. Deers don't care who's in the way when they're going after the dog that they think is a threat, and even though if it's on a leash and walking well and not being a threat, they don't understand that. So just be aware. I like that people are posting areas that they're seeing these negative interactions so that you can have an idea of which ones to avoid. It shouldn't last too long, usually 2-3 months, and then the fawns are a little more mobile and the mums aren't quite as protective. So that's my report. Seems how we don't have wild safe anymore.
Thank you. I think the biggest thing I have to report on, she went outside the room. The biggest thing I have to report on right now is we had a meeting with the natural resource officers 2 weeks ago? Yeah. About 2 weeks ago with the RCMP and bylaw, and trying to figure out a way to get the encampments in town cleaned up. From that meeting, they said that we can enforce our property maintenance bylaw in town on Crown land. They said that came from their lawyer, so we've asked for that in an email, which we've gotten since then from their lawyer. I think we just got it a few days ago. So we're now looking at how to enact that, since there's nobody to actually enforce it on. So all this would mean would be cleaning up camps, not removing camps, because we don't have jurisdiction to remove camps. So it's to clean up the site itself. The natural resource officer suggested that we reach out to a volunteer group that they use all the time out of the Okanagan. I think Brandon has been in contact with them to see how they can help. That's, I think, the biggest thing right now is how do we enforce that on encampments? So staff are looking at that. Bylaws working on that right now, and when we can, we will enact that.
Are
Yep.
you saying clean up while they're there?
Yeah. It'd be no different than somebody who has an unsightly property.
Okay.
The problem is they don't, the logistics of it are the challenge, because they don't own the property, so they're like a renter. So we would then take you to court normally we would issue a series of citations and then get you in front of a judge to clean that up. So that's where staff are trying to figure out the logistics on how to enact the cleanup part of the property maintenance bylaw on individuals in a unhoused encampment. So that's where we're at. It's a step forward, but it doesn't give us the ability to really enact things. And, again, just for everybody's awareness, there's only one active camp inside town boundaries. There's a burned out camp inside town boundaries. All the other encampments are outside of the town boundaries, where the town does not have any jurisdiction over them as well. If you noticed our latest fire ban that was just put on, it was for in-town only. We do not have the authority to enact a fire ban in Area H, even within our coverage area. So the regional district needs to do that. They're working on something to give the fire chiefs that have a fire protection area in the regional district the ability to do that, but they haven't done that yet. There is a provincial fire ban coming in Friday, I believe it is, Friday, and that will also give the fire chief the ability to enforce within his fire protection area, all of it. So that'll give all the fire chiefs the ability to do a fire ban in their areas. So it's a step forward. We still got a long way to go, but I know our bylaw department is working to try to figure this out and try to clean up some of the encampments that are in town and clean up the remnants of the one down there. So, yep.
With that, that the natural resource officer is telling you that the town can enact, would that not also go on to the regional district too? Would they?
They don't have no, because they don't have a bylaw that would enforce it.
They don't have unsightly.
Not the same as ours. I mean, they could, but they don't have bylaws. They have like one bylaw officer, two, I think, for the whole regional district. So, but again, the problem comes down to how do you enforce on a population that doesn't have a set address, sort of thing. So there's logistics around it. We are working on it. Brandon, it's top of mind for Brandon how to do it, and we're supporting him with that, and we're trying to move that forward. So it's a complicated situation, and it's not just here. It's across the province. It's across the country. Just about every place you go, there's something. So, but I think this is a step in the right direction. It's upsetting that the province claims they've given the NRs no budget to work within. So even the stuff in the regional district, they have no money to go and force a cleanup or whatever. They can charge you, and then that's it. They're leaning on this volunteer nonprofit group out of the Okanagan to come in and do the work for them. So it's a challenge. It's a real challenge. So, but I think that's all I got. Yep.
I forgot to mention that the posse has obtained a new bus, and one observer, when he saw the new bus, asked about the old bus and said, could you not take the colors off it, load it up with people and give them homeless and give them a ride wherever they want to go?
No.
That wouldn't work?
No. No. They are members. Most of them are from here. If there's no other questions, I'll move to 8 letters to receive and file. We have one letter letter to the Honorable Adrian Dix from the Corporation of District of Oakville Bay.
I'll make the motion to receive and file.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Gould. Willis. All in favor? Carried. This takes us to number 10, bylaws and resolutions, Water Regulation Amendment Bylaw 1067, 2026. It's all your guys'. Yours?
Me. And I think I'll stand up, so if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Yes, by all means.
Everybody's okay with that? So before you is the Water Regulations Amendment Bylaw for water meters. And what we're doing is repealing the old bylaw section 6 and replacing it with a new section. The new section makes water meters mandatory for residential properties by December 31st. It gives, some of the changes are also, it gives definitions for class 1 and class 2 water meters, class 1 being in your home, class 2 being pit meters. It gives authority for us to enter on and into property, enforcement. One of the things that came up about was the access to property for maintenance, repairs, reading meters. I just want to ensure that everybody understands that these water meters have a reader on the outside of your home, and they can be read by just simply driving by the home. No?
No, that's cellular.
Oh, cellular. Okay, so that automatically goes to the home or to us.
To our program,
Okay.
that's correct.
So there's no need for us to go in there unless there's an issue with the water meter. So if the water meter, we, for whatever reason, aren't getting any readings from it, we have to be able to access it to ensure that there hasn't been any vandalism or anything to the water meter. And that is why that is in the bylaw itself.
So how would you do that? I'm just gonna stop right there.
Oh, so there is regulations. We can't just knock on the door and say, hello, we're here, we want to enter your home. We give notice. And it would be notice that we are coming to inspect your water meter. We're not able to get readings. Set up a time. Please email us or contact us. And then if it doesn't, and we don't get a reply, then we have the authority to enforce by the bylaw. Okay? What I'm asking for from council is for 3 readings. This bylaw doesn't require any approval from Minister of Transportation. It doesn't require approval from the Inspector of Municipalities. I would say 90% of our bylaws get 3 readings in 1 meeting. And then after that, we wait another meeting before we do adoption of a bylaw. So what I'm asking from council today is to give first, second, and third reading to this water meter regulation amendment bylaw.
Questions? Yeah, Councillor Gould.
You also, in your recommendation in your report, Carrie, have asked that we change your committee of the whole to on the 15th to a special council meeting.
That was my recommendation, but I have since spoken to the mayor and CAO Thomas, and they have requested that we wait until the 22nd of July.
Okay. And then can you speak, you did mention under the community charter that it's not required to have public consultation. It was implied, and I was asking about this earlier, that if it's considered a contentious issue that it should. That is, can you confirm that the community charter doesn't state?
No, the community charter section 135 gives council the authority to give 3 readings in 1 meeting. And then have to have at least 24 hours before you can give adoption to an agenda or to a bylaw, sorry. It's totally up to council. If council doesn't want to give first, second, and third, or you want to give first, second, and third right now and do a public consultation period and then take it to adoption, the reason why we're wanting to do first, second, and third right now and take it to July 22nd for adoption is so that we can begin this phase 2 of the water meter project. The longer we delay it, the less time the people that haven't got meters put in, it shortens their period. This bylaw is what everybody's been asking for, is for direction on how we're going to move forward, and I think this bylaw does that.
And then in the bylaw, and you spoke on it, was about access. Like the bylaw does read access to the property, and a couple times it says at any time, but you say that we'll give notice. I don't see in there like that what the process is.
I believe that's in the community charter that we have to give notice.
So it
and
doesn't
I think
need to
I've
be in our
attached
bylaw.
it. No.
If it's already covered under
And
the community
that's
charter.
correct.
Sorry, I just want to
Yes.
confirm that. And then the cellular communication units, they're not referred to specifically in here. The meter is. Does that need to be, or is it considered one and the same? Like that you have a meter and it has to have that cellular?
That's correct.
And they have to be, you said outside to the cellular communication transmitter have to be outside. Do they have to be outside or can they be inside?
It can be inside as well.
And if they're inside the home, because concerns are that they won't read, it'll, just like your cell phone will transmit inside a home, it'll still send it out.
That's correct.
So it's not that the town will need to come in to read the meter
No,
because
not at
their
all.
transmitters inside. I guess there's just a few circumstances where that would be the case, that it can't because it's a cement wall.
Yeah, it's cement wall, or some people just don't want a hole drilled through their wall for the wire to go through.
And they make the choice to have it
That's
inside.
right.
Okay, thank you. I think that's, there was a few things on the diagram that I had questions on, that was different from the previous section 6, or the water meter section, and it's this expansion tank. It says as required by plumbing code, so is that's not on everyone that it's required to be inserted, or the dual check valve, because it says as required.
It's just as required. It's not required from the town.
Right, so we're not mandating people have these
Definitely not.
improvements installed. Okay, let's put it in. Sorry, I'm really needing my glasses these days. And then again, it's still, our bylaw does say in no case shall a meter be installed in a bathroom or bedroom. So So if your main water shutoff is in a bedroom, would they be exempt from it, or would they need to go into a pit meter situation?
Would try to find an alternative, either alter your plumbing or a pit meter.
Okay, so those are the situations where it's have the discussions and see. So I think that was one of the concerns, was like the requirement to upgrade plumbing. So, which would then, if by us making this bylaw mandatory, this is where the question would be, are we then making people upgrade their plumbing, like incur costs? Is there any option for exemptions? Because I think that was one of the things that was said in the presentation, was about it removed prior exemptions. Exemptions aren't in this.
There wasn't any prior exemptions in the bylaw anyways.
Okay.
The 2010 date that's stated in this bylaw was actually adopted in the 2010 bylaw at the Water Rates and Regulations bylaw at the time. So the date was strictly a placeholder to where the program starts. Like this is how we wanted to, or the previous staff wanted to get everyone having a water meter installed from that date.
Homes built prior to 2010.
Sorry.
Legacy plumbing. Sorry, I don't want it.
That's okay. So that was just something I heard today, and I was just kind of like, I didn't catch that wasn't something that was in before to coming out. I was highlighting things that were in before that's different to this time, other than the whole section repealed, right? So that's something, if that is, I guess what I'm saying, there's not the opportunity after a delegation to speak, which is one of the things, one of the difficulties with it, is that you can be a delegation to speak on a subject that's on our agenda, but it's always before we have our conversations, right? Which makes for a little bit of feeling of like you get to talk, but now we don't get to talk again. So with this, if there's time and it's not until the 22nd.
That is correct.
People have the opportunity to, and I'm not implying like bombard us with questions, but if there's concerns or questions about this proposed bylaw, that there is time for us to see them and address them, and then talk about it before adoption. So even though if we go first, second, third today, that's bringing forward an item for us to consider. And then there's going to be, I don't know how many days between 22nd and today, time between
2
today
weeks.
and the next time that this bylaw is in front of us, then for review. So then the delegation opportunity, because it would be on there for adoption, would again be there.
Correct.
So I don't want anybody to feel that we're not considering concerns. There's, maybe I can ask Carrie or Lyle to speak on who developed this bylaw, like who, under what authority was it outlined, and then what advice?
Carrie was really the lead on this, but staff looked at it and developed it, and then we worked collaboratively on it, and then we submitted it to our legal team, and and they reviewed it over quite a lengthy time, and actually went back and forth a little bit, and then they developed what you see in front of you.
For such a small bylaw, only being a few pages, it was back and forth quite a bit. I was shocked, because you have to understand that we were trying to get this bylaw right. We were trying to get it so that it would also fit whatever plan we had for phase 2 and going forward into the future. So, there was quite a bit of back and forth, but we did it as a team.
Right. But I heavily want to stress that you had legal advice and counsel on it while you were doing it. It wasn't taken lightly, and it covers the authority to gain access to home for utility.
I can assure you that every bylaw either is through a consultant that's their profession, or it goes to legal, or both.
In this case, I went to Lista, who also wrote the community charter, so
Right.
their office is probably the leading community charter experts in the province.
I just want to stress, like, this is not our area of expertise. This is not why I sit at this table. I sit at this table to take into consideration advice and stuff from our staff, which I'm then, just reinforcing that you guys are taking advice from professionals as well. So
That is correct.
So it's not taken lightly. I think it's important to not feel like we're cutting anybody off, that we're not open to discussions, but it's also, there are some things that we have authority, the municipalities have authority to do certain things under this community charter, which then, if it's in there, it doesn't need to be said again
That is
in our
correct.
bylaws.
You're not to repeat Community Charter or Local Government Act in your bylaws. There's no reason for it, especially if there's changes to either the act or the charter, then you have to
Change
then
the
amend
bylaw.
your bylaw.
Yeah.
So it's always the act or the charter that reads first, and then our bylaws. Federal, provincial, local government.
But mostly, like, just we're listening. I want to say I've tried to listen and have a better understanding of it. I think I have a better understanding of it than I did when I first heard about it. And I attended that meeting because I didn't even have a letter. I personally didn't have the information, so I attended the meeting, and I think I've got the information. I've experienced the connection, and it was pretty straightforward. My husband and I had difference of opinions on what the experience was going to be like. And he's like, just tell him. And I'm like, no, I want him to not know that I'm a counselor. I want the person who's coming to just treat me as a regular citizen and not have a pressure that they need to treat me any different way. And so my husband did the dealings with him, and the guy was gone within 25 minutes of being in our home, and he was very professional. But I just want to say that I think due diligence has been done by the town now, since we've had it implemented, and we need to move forward so that it can get done while we still have the funding, before the funding goes and people then are forced without any option. So I like that we have a phase 2 rebate option to help, and I think this bylaw covers as much as it needs to cover, so, sorry.
Yeah, I think it reads very clear. I'll make the motion, Mr. Mayor.
I'll second that one.
Moved by Councilor Lewis. Any questions on the motion? Call the question, all in favor? That is carried. Okay, motion to adjourn. Thank you. Councilor McLean, Gould, all in favor? Carried. We are adjourned.